I know y'all ain't used to hearing it like that. I guess we're trying to create some type of ambiance in the room because of our guest this evening. But in the meantime, between time, I am your host, LaCheston, and you are back for another episode of the What You Mean podcast. And we are here for Industry Monday. And I'm here kicking it with my co-host,
Monique, a.k.a. Mo, a.k.a. The Stylist, and a.k.a. your co-host for today.
That's what it is, man. We sure appreciate y'all. And as always, man, y'all know I had to give y'all my disclaimer at the beginning. I'm not going to ramble too much. But we got an awesome guest, man. A lot of you are going to know her face. A lot of you are going to actually know her name. She's on billboards, magazines, city council. Everybody know her. So without further ado, can you tell the people who you are and tell them where they can find you?
Yes, I'm Crystal Mullen-Johnson. I am a licensed clinical social worker in Birmingham, Alabama. I have a mental health private practice, Strive Counseling Services. LaCheston definitely misrepresented me. No, I am not on the city council in the city of Birmingham. However, I am an entrepreneur. I also have a mental health nonprofit, which you will have an opportunity to learn more about today as we are raising awareness about mental health.
That's what's up. I always know you gonna give a hell of an introduction. I know that's coming each and every time. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I want to give a special shout out on this evening to my stylist, man, my homie, Mo, for stepping in and doing a thug there's on this evening. I do think that the conversation on this evening is going to be pretty dope. So I'm not going to even lie to y'all that's listening at home, or if you're watching right now, I'm going through my phone trying to find my paperwork for her. So, and the crazy thing is she's actually one of my most faithful clients.
Absolutely.
She's going to book me every single year.
Correct.
So when I go through my business email, not only am I trying to look for a script, I'm seeing answers to responses. I'm seeing quotes paid. It's just, it ain't going to be no, that's a quote. That is not. How about I just...
Did you tell them how you harassed me?
Would you like for me to kick it off?
Yeah, you go ahead and do your thing while I'm trying to find this.
So let's start with an icebreaker. I love icebreakers.
How she already got it?
I start with, and this is something I do when I am facilitating DEI workshops. So I always start with an icebreaker just to read the room.
Let's do it.
So let's do that. So if you could choose any superpower, what would it be? Personal gain or for the world? And we're going to answer too. So we're
Hit
not
her over the head.
We're not going to leave you out there hanging.
I would say resilience.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, resilience is very important to have, and that's personal gain. Because I know if I'm resilient, I can overcome any difficulty. I know I can bounce back during any challenging time, any challenging obstacle that I'm faced with. I can recover for that, and I think that's priceless.
So yes, what you're choosing as a superpower?
I am.
Out of all the superpowers you could have,
I definitely would like resilience.
I guess that's the
and
real.
I would like resilience lifelong.
I guess that would fit into the realistic superpower.
Correct.
So what unrealistic superpower would you want to have? Yeah, Crystal Mullen-Johnson.
Unrealistic superpower.
Yeah. Like when I was a little boy, I used to wish that my pinky was made of gold.
Oh.
My fingertip. Okay. And anything that I wanted to touch, that's what it would turn into. Okay. Literally. I think that's some type of Midas or something like that. Or some myth, but
maybe. The power and
Midas touch, yeah.
So personal gain, the power and control to change people.
Wow, that's where you gonna go with that?
Absolutely.
Come on, Crystal.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, being a mental health professional, I mean, obviously, I recognize the importance of change. Because it helps improve who we are, and it can change the circumstances, and changing can impact our relationships with other people. So if I had the power to change people, I would do that.
That
Okay.
is phenomenal. Mine is more personal. LaCheston, I don't know if I'm the perfect person for this podcast because my superpower is probably going to put a tear in my eye.
Oh,
So I'm going to
Lord.
close my eyes
Okay.
while I
Don't do that.
say
Don't
it.
do that, Mo.
My superpower would be to have a cure for autism.
Wow. Wow.
And I can understand that. Absolutely.
That's what's up, man.
I'm not gonna go into it because it'll make me cry. So for those of you who are listening who don't know me or don't know anything about me, I have a son who is on the spectrum, and I don't like to say he's autistic because that gives him a title. I just like to say he's living with autism.
Gotcha.
And I learned that from working with people in the HIV community because they don't like to say that they have HIV. They are people living with HIV because that doesn't make them who they are. And autism doesn't make Bryce who he is.
Right.
Okay.
You got to go because I'm going to cry.
And as I'm hearing you talk about that, I'm sure just the reality of parenting a amazing child with autism, there's a sense of grief. Even like
You go through the
looking-
stages of grief.
Correct.
You go through that from start. And I wish my husband and I had gotten therapy when we first found out. But we were resilient. And I have this motto: I'm gonna give myself 8 to 9 minutes to cry about it, and then it's time to boss up and figure out how we gonna handle it.
And I understand that.
And so I don't bask in that the sadness long because I'm always looking for, like I was telling you earlier, I'm the fixer. So I'm always looking for a way to to fix things. And Justin to tell you, when he comes with an issue, I'm like, okay, I hear you. Let's think about it. Okay, we through talking about it. Okay, let's talk about how we're gonna fix it. And that's just how my mind goes. And I think I need to slow down sometimes and give myself just a minute to breathe and think about it, because I didn't do that for him. But on the flip side of that, I was able to be a great advocate, which is why he is where he is today, and to be an advocate for other parents who did not have that strength. I had a parent to come up to me in Walmart or Target one time and tell me she was looking for me because her son now is able to integrate with the kids in the typical classroom amongst his typical peers because I gave her that strength. And I showed her how to maneuver through these IEP meetings. So it worked.
What? You actually did just break the ice. And you broke the ice because you are being vulnerable, like with me. And we don't know who's listening, but obviously people are listening that you don't have a relationship with. And for you to disclose that to a community of people that you don't know really speaks to your acceptance and your resilience. And it makes me think a little deeper, like, when we talked about what our superpower would be if we had an option to have it. I think I want to expound more on that in terms of, I've mentioned changing people.
Yeah.
But changing people's state, meaning, I lost both of my parents unexpected. So if I can change the fact that they are deceased and they could be here with me today, I would do that. But I don't think I would have said that if we never talked about your circumstance and we nailed the term grief. And it reminded me of the grief that I've experienced and how valuable, as your son's relationship is to you, that relationship was to me with my parents.
I got you. So I'm the type of person that my mindset, I'm gonna think, and I'm gonna think a lot. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I probably shared this type of realm with you, even when it comes to this type of conversation. But I'm hearing you said that if you had a superpower, that would be to change people or change the state of something. And nobody wants to lose their parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, So please hear me for what I'm trying to say, Like, when we get to, if we watching like these sci-fi movies and all these other different things we see on TV, a lot of movies, the protagonist is always somebody that's trying to change something that is natural. It just naturally happens. And they always want to change that narrative. You know what I'm saying? And that makes them a protagonist. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they're maybe wrong. It's just their ideology and philosophy behind whatever that issue is. They feel like it should happen like this. So this is my question. With all that being said, if you had the power to be able to bring your parents back, right? Mm-hmm. That means that ultimately your parents would never die, right? So if that be the case, do you feel like that would be something that they would want?
Actually, I don't, because I think my parents prepared us for life.
I got you.
In the event that they did pass away. And I do believe whether I would want to accept it or acknowledge it, both of my parents were ready to make that life transition.
Okay.
And I also must acknowledge that if they would not have passed away, I may not be the person that I have become.
Gotcha. Okay.
It really accounts for who I am today.
It goes back to that resilient word that you brought up.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And I have had my mother-in-law who passed. She came to me in a dream, and I don't want to get too far into, because this conversation can really go deep. But she came to us in a dream and was like, "I need y'all to stop. Me and my sister-in-law, stop crying. I'm okay, and I'm not coming back. Right. But you're gonna be okay." You know, because they're happy where they are, and that's what gave me peace.
Right. I mean, grief is very difficult for many, and it's a natural process that we should go through. And some people postpone that process because they have complicated grief, and it becomes complicated when they don't give themselves permission to grieve. And you were just like touching on that a little bit. And that looks like carrying guilt and the distortion or belief that if I move on, I am betraying that person. That means that I don't love that person. And that's just not a reality. What we have to reflect on is what has been your experience with that person while they were here on earth. Yep. We have experiences that teach us the value of the relationship that we share with those persons in our life or people in our life. And that's why I really encourage people in the state of being to be present and to cultivate those relationships, because memories are valuable in helping us grieve. And when we grieve, you know, it's not just an emotional process, it's a psychological process. And there are different stages that you go through. And for some, acceptance is like big, it's difficult, but it's necessary for us to heal and to learn to live a healthy life without the person that we have lost.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm glad this is going to be a follow-up question, and then I'm going to switch gears. Okay.
Sure, of course.
So, you know, she just expressed, you know, about a dream that she has. You know what I'm saying? Then you talked about a psychological state. So how do you, as a mental health therapist, how do you bridge the gap when it comes to spiritual, spiritual, mental, and religion? Like, are those lines like clear when it comes to the line of work that you have, or are they often blurred? Like, what are some things that you, and I'm only asking this because of what we're talking about now, which is what I'm saying, once you respond, we need to change gears, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I mean, obviously I'm not a spiritual counselor, so I would not be able to address, you know, the spiritual component
Right.
of what you're experiencing in terms of that loss. However, when you speak about a dream, the first thing that comes to me is what's embedded in your subconscious.
Okay.
So these are very things that you could have been thinking about. You know, they have been suppressed, buried in your subconscious that surface during, you know, your REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. So, I mean, that's how I would refer to that. And we could process, you know, that dream that you have and uncover the emotions that possibly have been unresolved to help you work through grieving in a healthy manner.
Okay. So I know for y'all, bro, just to let y'all know, we went in like real deep, real fast. Wasn't supposed to go that fast. Sorry for taking y'all that fast. So just back to you on the hindsight of things. What's going on with Strive? Like, what's new with Strive? You know, you gave me opportunity to come to the open house. You know, people showed up that loved you, supported your business. You know what I'm saying? I got the opportunity to just see a mixed, diverse group of people, to know that, you know, your reach stretched beyond just our community. You know what I'm saying? There are other people that are actually reaping the benefits of Strive Counseling and Crystal Mullen-Johnson. So, like, what's up with that, man? What's going on there?
Yeah, we are making an impact, which is most important. You know, we are experiencing a mental health crisis in our country. Strive Counseling Services, we have four full-time therapists on staff. You know, our goal is to meet the mental health needs of people in our community. And we work with people that have anxiety disorders, have experienced trauma. Trauma can range from natural disasters. It can range from social injustice. It could range from bullying. It could be a death. We just talked about grief. It could be witnessing a gun violence directly. Also witnessing trauma vicariously. It could be sexual abuse or physical abuse. So I just wanted to kind of provide some examples of trauma, because I think people are troubled when I say the word trauma. They're like, I never experienced a trauma. Okay, let me help you understand what that means. Gotcha. So we work with people that have trauma as well. And we serve adults, children. We also provide family counseling. And ultimately, we just want to make sure we are addressing the mental health needs so people can learn to live a healthier life. We provide evidence-based counseling services. We use cognitive behavioral therapy is to help individuals recognize their negative thought patterns, which helps improve your emotional and behavioral responses. And it also helps reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety and help manage stress better. So Strive, we are located downtown Birmingham on 2nd Avenue North, and we're growing. We're expanding. We offer telehealth counseling. We know that that's a convenient way of people receiving services. COVID-19 taught us you don't have to be in the office to receive professional services from a general practitioner or a mental health provider or an educator. Right. There are ways to connect and to meet your needs, whether it's educational or mental or physical. And also, did you want me to talk about Nurture? Or you want to just like...
That's the nonprofit, right?
Yes. I mean, we can circle back. I mean, okay, so we were talking about our superpower, right? Mm-hmm. So I just think we should bring this kind of full circle. So I am from Demopolis, Alabama, which is, I mean, some would identify, I guess, rural, but population of about 7,500 people. And I had a really good childhood, I would say, up until, I would say, what I would consider trauma, my mom dying unexpected at the age of 14 years old. Wow. Oh, I was 14 years old, I'm sorry. But my mother was 49. That's very young. Mm-hmm. My mother had a social work background. My father was an entrepreneur, which really explains why I pursued this field, like the entrepreneurship and my mom's educational background, like those coupled together, like it was a no-brainer for me to be a independent practitioner. However, going through that unfortunate experience, obviously I experienced grief, but I didn't know what I was going through. There was no, I didn't have the term to label my experience with. I mean, my school counselor did not, talk to me about my emotions. My family members or no one talked to me about the opportunity to to pursue therapy. So I did what most people do. We use our maladaptive coping skills. I mean, I was very active in college. I was on the dance team. My dad paid for me to travel. I went to Rome.
Dance, man. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
We'll save that for another
That's another conversation. But I was very engaged in that. I played in the band. I played basketball, softball. I mean, I ran track. But that's how I cope with my emotions. And it wasn't until I arrived at Alabama A&M, a historically black college, where my mother, her two sisters, and my great aunt graduated from, that I realized that I was experiencing extreme loneliness and sadness, and it was unshakable. And I met some spiritual mentors once I got connected to the spiritual community, Union Chapter Baptist Church in Huntsville. I was learning more about me and on this process of self-discovery and pursuing the field of social work that I was grieving and experiencing depression. And I started my journey through therapy there. So having said that, I knew I was going to start my mental health private practice because it was something I was very passionate about. But then I realized that there was something missing. I recognize that historically marginalized communities suffer the most. They suffer the most because of inaccessibility. There's a lack of education about mental health conditions. And that's what I was experiencing. I was like, oh, I'm from Demopolis. I mean, I was in a historically marginalized community.
Yep.
That's why no one talked about mental health. So I have to do something about that. See, we are more impactful when we recognize that there's a heart matter. There's a heart matter and there's a mind matter. Okay? So the heart matter for me was to heal the community, specifically focusing on the historically marginalized community. So I accept insurance, at Strive Counseling Service. So we accept, obviously, TRICARE, United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Evernorth, some of those primary insurance providers. But I wanted to focus on providing affordable services to those that are uninsured. Mm-hmm. And I also wanted to provide community education to those that were unaware of mental health and mental illness. And I wanted to improve accessibility. So that's how I came up with Nurture of Alabama. So it was branched off from Strive Counseling. I initially started offering free community mental health awareness sessions for my private practice. And basically, I was using my funds. I didn't have any city funds. I didn't have any grants or anything like that. The money that I earned in my business, the revenue I earned in my business, I was pouring in the community. And my CPA told me it's a no-brainer. You need to start your nonprofit, because I was given to the other nonprofits. So that's when I decided to branch out and develop Nurture of Alabama. It's a brick and mortar. We offer counseling services. We offer mental health support groups. We have a partnership with Jefferson County Family Court. Kids that are court ordered for anger management, we provide group sessions to them. And we also have a community mental health awareness initiative where we provide monthly sessions at the central location, downtown library. And I hire practitioners, whether it's medical or mental health practitioners, to talk about trending mental health topics. So we do that throughout the month. I would say from June to October. And upcoming in May 19th, we have our community mental health day. It's a partnership with the mayor's office, and we will have 40 plus community organizations set up as vendors to share community resources. We will have food trucks on that day. We will have music. We will have panelists talking about mental health topics. We have heard about the rising fentanyl epidemic. We'll have someone talking about adverse childhood trauma. We'll have someone talking about conflict resolution. We'll have someone talking about mental health in the spiritual community. So that is going to be a really big event for the city of Birmingham. So that's what I am doing with Nurture of Alabama, my mental health nonprofit, and also with Strive Counseling Services.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I was thinking about, a lot of people think, because I had a great childhood, but there are still some traumas that meeting with another therapist, they've been able to pinpoint that I never knew were there.
Absolutely.
And then us in the Black community, because my mom was like this, a lot of times we use, and I really saw this during the pandemic, we use laughter as a coping mechanism.
Humor. Mm-hmm.
We use humor. And I always remember my grandmother passed. It wasn't 30 minutes before my mom was cracking a joke, but I know that's her way of coping. That's how she copes.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people in the Black community cope. And I know I don't want to jump ahead. I know that's something we're going to touch on, mental health in the Black community, but I wish more of us.
I mean, I think it's a good term.
Actually, I think we were segueing there. That was great. I mean, African Americans, historically, we are unlikely to seek mental health therapy because of the distrust in medicine. I mean, you think about the Tuskegee experiment. I mean, that really speaks to the intergenerational trauma that we experience in our community, and it is passed on from generation to generation. And not only that, you're taught or conditioned by your parents. You don't tell the family business. Mm-hmm. What stays in this house, what happens in this house stays in this house. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, and not only
for that.
Is that correct? That's where I was about to go. Right. But also it's a curse because guess what?
Yep.
You are taught to be silent. Silent. So many people are silent when they're suffering. They're suffering in silence. That's why we are seeing a rise in suicide, especially in the African American community.
Yes.
It's trending. African American men is trending. Those that have experienced sexual abuse, physical abuse, they're silent. They've been taught to lose their voice. And if you speak up, they've been taught that they will experience some form of punishment for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you're speaking in the adult realm, I mean, it feel like you being stripped of, your masculinity if you say anything.
And it's a stigma.
Well, definitely people worry about judgments, but I tell my clients or those that I know personally when we're in conversation, if you are unlikely to talk about it, eventually you will act it out. It will be recognized in some form or fashion. I mean, it can be recognized in your abuse of substances. It can be recognized in your lack of emotional, in your dysregulation of emotions, meaning your anger that is displayed. It could be displayed in just your decision making with your finances, and even being hypersexual. Like it could be display or gambling. So it will reflect in some way.
Hypersexual?
Absolutely.
Man, come on, man.
I think there's levels to it.
What you mean?
I mean, sex is healthy. Sex is...
I guess I'm trying to figure out the hyper sex part. I mean...
reckless sex, meaning you're having sex with multiple partners and not think about the consequences of your decisions, meaning...
So that's how we're going to define hyper sex? That's what I'm asking. I'm just...
Impulsive.
Okay.
Irresponsible. Consequential. Regretful.
Okay.
And I've seen that behavior in people that have experienced some type of sexual abuse or sexual trauma in their, as a child.
Absolutely.
I have
I just
some.
want to. I'm the type of person that, I just don't want to believe that.
And that's fine. I mean, I guess you're.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, that's why it's getting interesting. You know what I'm saying? That's like, because we know what's going on with Strive. We know what's going on with Nurture. So now the listener just want to hear, as a black professional, like, there are things that we, the normal people, the normal consumer, deal with on a daily basis that just have not been paid attention to. And it hasn't been paid attention to because of multiple reasons.
Right.
So when we get the opportunity to talk about stuff like this, for instance, you have the great opportunity of being acknowledged by Ricky Smiley anytime that he talks about mental health in Birmingham, Alabama. If he's talking about it here, he's going to mention your name, you know what I'm saying? But this is also a guy that is really open with talking about some of his traumas over the airway, you know what I'm saying, to let other people know this kind of sort of, it's all right to talk about this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, of course, I think, again, just going back to the overall thing that I brought up slightly a few minutes ago about masculinity, is just, I think right now, 80% of the young men that are probably being raised by their fathers right now in the black community. And I'm gambling here because I'm not sure if that is an exact number. I'm not saying, I ain't read in some book to say that this is a number. I'm just throwing something out there. This is kind of sort of like an opinion. 80% of the black men that are raising young black men right now, right? They're teaching them the same thing that we're sitting here talking about on this couch that we're not supposed to teach them.
And that is?
Because I feel like the way that I was raised, people still getting raised like that. Well, as in going back to, you don't show your emotions. You don't show your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do that, you're stripped of your masculinity.
Well, I mean,
in a sense.
Absolutely. So during boyhood, you all are taught to be competitive.
Okay, so I want you to hold that, because I want y'all to understand that I'm trying to bring you full circle. When you gave me the spin about democracy, you said full circle. So the reason I'm asking you, get comfortable, because we didn't got what we need to get out the way by the company. We're gonna double back there. Now we're gonna talk, okay? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So what I'm saying is, when it comes to being so-called, quote unquote, maybe stripped of your masculinity or whatever because of the way that you were raised, like when you said hypersex, it made me go back to that same block, the star block, because we were told as young men that if you weren't smashing a couple things, you wasn't doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And I'm just willing to bet my bottom dollar that at some point in time, the father, the dad figure, yes, their narrative is going to change on what they're telling their son. But at some point in time, they're just telling them, you need to make something shake.
Mm-hmm. And I can understand what you're saying, but you're teaching your child not to have self-control.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I think I got self-control.
Why do you
I think it took me a while. No, we're not finna do that. You're not finna build me. That's what we're not finna do. We're not finna do that.
Okay, well, I mean, I totally understand your perspective. And, one of the key conversations I have with my son is about self-control and what's natural. It is natural to be stimulated when you look at a girl.
Okay.
I mean, you're understanding your body better, and you're going to feel sensations in your body. But you are not wise or have the wisdom to understand sex.
Okay.
You don't have the wisdom to understand female reproduction. I can talk to him about that, but if there's impulsivity and a lack of self-control, he's more than likely to make a reckless decision.
Okay.
So we have to educate our kids about protecting themselves.
Okay.
If they make the decision to have sex, we can't have the conversation, don't have sex. If you have sex, something bad will happen. That's how we were raised. That's how we were raised. Like, no one talked to me about healthy sexual relationships.
Right.
And what was appropriate and what was inappropriate. I was just scared into do not have sex. But the conversation with my son is, okay, Ethan, it's natural to feel this. Okay, I understand that you may masturbate, but don't watch Pornhub because you lack the self-control to know when to stop, because you can go down a rabbit hole and it can become an addiction. And can you distinguish what's appropriate porn from inappropriate porn? Meaning, if you get child pornography in your hand and it's shared or discovered, you can be penalized for that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going to jail.
Correct. But if you don't have these conversations with your kids, we have kids exchanging photos of girls that they've shared in private with supposedly a boyfriend or just a classmate, and it goes viral. That's child pornography.
You know what? The only place I've seen that is on TV.
No, that's a reality. That's not just on TV. These are issues that people are dealing with. These are student mental health problems we're talking about right now. These are impulsive decisions. These are issues that we're talking about where kids don't have the emotional regulation to understand the consequence of their behavior and how it impacts someone else.
And what she's saying is, she's not saying that hypersexuality, right?
Correct.
Is just because you experience it, you had some type of trauma.
No.
It's not a all one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
You could experience it, but just how boys think. You just sometimes they out of control. But that doesn't necessarily mean, because I kind of thought you might have thought that if you do, if you're having sex, if you're having hypersexuality experiences, like you're just out of control, you're doing this, you're doing that. That means that you've had some type of trauma. Not necessarily.
I just don't feel like I think that if I'm trying to tie it together, I think that what you're trying to say is that hypersex can be attached to a trauma.
It can.
That trauma can be attached to the fact that this is what uncle and dad and them told you to do, but they didn't understand that they were dealing with some type of trauma that made them even tell you that. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. It's because that's where we got it from. I mean, it didn't just happen because, and I'm not saying, and I know what you're just told me, like everything is, don't try to put everything in one bubble, because it's not in one bubble. You got your different things that could cause whatever the case may be. But I'm saying for some people, as far as hypersex, and my man, it's like, it's just because that's what you were taught. It wasn't necessarily attached to a specific trauma.
Well, taught and exposed too. I mean, there are young boys that are encouraged to have sex with older women.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how you get your wings. You gotta fly. You gotta fly.
But you may fly, but you have been exposed and you're experiencing something beyond your level of intelligence to deal with.
If that came out wrong, I didn't mean it in the wrong way. I was just trying to add some type of little humor in there, whatever the case may be. But continue. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I mean, there are young boys that are molested. It is considered.
Is that by law though? I'm being real. I'm saying.
So you think just because it's a boy having a sex with an older woman, it wouldn't be considered the woman molesting the little boy?
What was the was it Mary Kay Letourneau? What's her name? That had the sex with the younger boy?
Man, that's a million of them right now.
Yeah, she was charged for that. The teacher, she was a teacher.
But that's by law though, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Did the little boy want her to get in trouble, or does he not know any better? And I'm not justifying anything. I'm making conversation.
Even if it's free will and that woman is of age and she recognizing that she's taking advantage and she's having a sex with a child.
Okay. Now we're looking at it totally different, because I think.
But where I'm going with this, I'm hearing what you say, and in our community or some communities, that's taught like if this is the situation, you should take advantage of that situation. But that can be damaging to someone's mental health in their adult life, because now, they're obsessing about sex at a very young age. Okay. They're impulsively acting out the behavior with kids their age, and it's inappropriate.
Okay.
Are you following me?
Yep.
So this is where it becomes problematic. It causes interferences with their function, and they're preoccupied with the thought of sex. Now, you being a man, I know it's like, what do you mean? I love sex. Women love sex too. Sex is great. But also, you have to have self-control, and you also have to have rational thoughts in terms of your decision making when you are making that decision.
Again, literally, I'm not saying that anything. I know what you're sharing with us is completely solid. I'm just connecting it to things that I've heard when I was growing up, whatever, just to put it out there to see, again, what your response will be and what we can kind of sort of connect these issues to. Because I had a frat brother, DeMel Coleman, to actually come in here from our first season. Me and him talked. And I had to cut it short because he was starting to really hit the nail on the head about certain little things that had happened, but I didn't really realize what was happening. And he was just like, it was coming out left to right, and just got to the point I was like, all right, cool. You know what? We're going to have to go ahead and bring this one to an end, blah, 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 blah. Because now he really got me thinking, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. To see past what you really need to see past, if that makes sense. So I don't want you to think, or the listeners or anybody out there that's listening to this, to think that blessing any wrongdoing. Because at the end of the day, wrong is wrong and right is right.
Well, I just hope most important what can be taken away from this conversation is a healthy conversation between parents and their children about sex. And what I hope that can be taken away from this conversation, especially with our male listeners, I mean, it's okay to teach your son to be competitive. Also, it's important to teach your son like self-control as well. So those are the important things to take away from the conversation.
I think the self-control for and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, man. The comments wide open, man. Y'all know I love to hear back from y'all. But I think the self-control comes from just being raised by a man. And when you're being raised by a man and you see what he doing, like if you see a grown-ass man that's in the house with his child, I mean, we're talking a unit family. We're talking mom and dad, the kids. That child is going to treat women the way that the father treats the wife. And I think a lot of people get things totally misconstrued because I don't have any kids that I don't understand or see or know. But at one point in time, I was a kid.
So you saying that if a child is raised in a two-parented household, that they are more than likely to treat a woman with respect?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't saying
what
that.
What I'm saying
I
is,
just had to make sure.
Y'all trying to get all the single mamas on me, ain't it? That's what y'all trying to do.
I'm just trying to clarify because we have to represent everyone.
Yeah,
and
so
I just want to touch on some
basically,
stats if I needed to do that.
No, because I know you can do that, right? I treat this podcast like the Bible. I'm not going to sit up and discuss or analyze things with you that I have no clue about it. I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I make myself look like an ass. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I remember grandmama told me, I'm going to raise you to the best of my ability, but there are some things that I cannot show you because I can't show you how to be a man. And grandma dug in there and raised me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying it from that aspect that I would have been better or worse if I more so had my dad around. Because I can't really fault him or whatever, but my mom dated somebody who really stepped into the role. He was cool. He got his downfalls like everybody else, but I played football from the time I was in the 9th grade, from the time I was 4 years old up until I was 21. He came into my life when I was going to the 9th grade. Never missed a football game.
Wow.
He has never missed a football game. So, but a lot of his ways, I picked him up. I picked up a lot of his ways, you know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is at some point in time, that male figure that has that influence over that, whoever it is, your son, your nephew, whatever, you know what I'm saying? sons that love their mamas, they learn how to protect women. Mm-hmm. That's what it do if you're a single mom raising, you know what I'm saying? Like, you learn how to protect your mom. So why would you protect your mom, but you won't protect somebody that you say you love? So I'm not saying that it's a man or a woman thing. I'm just saying, like, more so what guys tend to lynch to. We always look for a dominant male figure to hold on to kind of sort of be there to guide, answer questions. It's just always, that's how I'm conditioned. I was in the military. I didn't hang out with my peers. I hung out with somebody who's like 20 years older than me, or higher ranked than me, that could teach me and tell me right from wrong, because he knew I was going to do stupid stuff. So tell me how to do the stupid stuff, because you know I'm going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's what I lynched on to. Same thing in every other life, even when we got to the church. That person for me was Tadera White. You see what I'm saying? So when you get, you know, that's all I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense, is what I'm saying.
It makes sense. I'm hearing that, you know, your mom, you know, connected you with a person in your life that you considered a role model.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I know it's a story that I told, but it's not where I want to be analyzed. It's the overall thing of what I'm saying is it matters to us black men when we have a dominant male figure in our life.
Correct.
And with me saying that, it is not to dilute or make the black woman feel inferior because they are raising our black kings the best way that they can.
Correct, but it's also important for boys and girls to have a dominant female figure in our life. I mean, a lot of the times we weigh in on absent fathers, but there are some absent mothers too. Mm-hmm. Really. Okay. And we don't talk about that often. But it's the reality for some kids that the father has really stepped up, and, you know, they're having to figure out how to raise a girl.
And I know this about you, but I got to ask you this, because I want you to respond to this, and then I want her to end the response. So why is it that we on the bottom of the totem pole, man?
Who?
Men.
What do you mean?
Why? Why do you think that?
Okay, so y'all gonna act like y'all don't know the worst celebrated holiday in the world.
Father's Day?
It's Father's Day.
Is it?
I didn't know. I really didn't know that.
I mean, for me, it would be like Mother's Day, because my mom is deceased. Like, I don't know.
Mother's Day is number 1. It's number 3. It's Christmas is number 1. I forget what number 2 is. Number 2 is either Mother's Day. Mother's Day is number 2 and number 3. Because when I found the thing that said, so we all know what everybody love most. They love Christmas, they mama, and something else. In that order. So it's out there. If you're listening, you can go and find it. But if you look down at the bottom of the list there ain't nobody really checking for holidays. Father's Day at the bottom, yo.
Wow.
So why is that?
It's crazy. So for me, mm-hmm. I would have to, you know, I know what the world says and what the stats say, but I want to say I'm opposite, because here's the thing. I can say whatever about my husband, but what's the one thing I'm going to always say about him? What do I always say about Mikey? What's the first thing I say? I say, no matter what, I can't take that from him.
He's a great dad.
He's a great dad.
Absolutely. And I
always.
Right.
And you know, we can be in the midst of an argument. I mean, we could be on one of those days where we're just not seeing eye to eye. That's one thing I don't take from him. So I always make sure I celebrate him being a father. The same thing with my stepdad. I thank my mom to this day, and I have a great relationship with my dad too. But my stepdad is a big part of who I am today. And there's not a Father's Day or Christmas that comes around that I don't celebrate him as much as I just celebrated my mom on Mother's Day. So I don't know, that might not be the question for me, because I
I just threw it out there.
I give the men in my life, I give them their props.
I think I threw it out there to be this little thing to dang in front of y'all to be like, y'all be telling us that we ain't there. So, that's why I was kind of sort of putting out there to see how that was gonna go.
Some of y'all ain't nothing, but that's a different podcast. Let's circle back to mental health.
I think men are awesome.
I do.
Did you? You did just say that's another podcast,
and
so I'm gonna leave that alone.
Kevin Samuels as
why you always bringing up a dog, man? Let my dog rest in peace.
Confrontational. Look, as confrontational as he was. Again, and I always say, the message you're delivering you can be 100% right, but if your delivery is off, I'm not going to receive it. And that's how he was. Because I really agree with probably 75% of what he said. And one of the things he said was, women can't survive in this world without a man. I agree. I think that's...
Do you agree? Boss therapist chick, do you agree?
I think men are necessary to have around.
Lord, I'm glad we're coming to an end. What the hell does that mean?
I'll just leave it at that.
I don't understand.
Why not?
You done laid everything else out that I asked. Well, you done gave me your stories. You done been analytical. What? You done divided this, carried this over, rounded it uphill.
We need each other.
We do. I think there are men on this earth that possess great leadership skills. They, fuel us, they provide the validation, the external validation that we need.
Okay.
They could be resourcul.
They can be resourceful.
Great providers.
Not they are, but they can be.
They can be.
You too.
They know how to. They know how to fill a need when a need needs to be filled. I think they're
That's
fun.
the mental for your behind, ain't it?
But seriously, I think it's necessary to have men around. I have some great men in my life. My son's father is
he
extraordinary.
Tall? Is he tall?
Who?
Your Ethan's father.
He's tall enough.
I'm just saying, because Ethan tall.
I mean, he get it from his mother, clearly.
It came from...
No, seriously.
We're not going to do that.
So
Did it just say it came from your side or something?
So, no.
We need a whole
he had
podcast.
No, I done got her warmed up. Now she ready to talk, baby.
Genetically, there's a predisposition, like for height, like on his paternal and maternal side. So both of his grandfathers are very tall, and obviously I am tall and very athletic. So he.
Oh my God.
Where Bryce get his height from?
Huh?
Where Bryce get his height from?
Yeah.
My son is very tall.
Right. I don't know. I think I already asked you that.
Tall.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got it from your side?
I don't know.
So round of applause for the men on the planet. Country men. Okay. That's enough.
She can be so funny sometimes. Look, man.
I didn't talk about the shirt.
Yes, you did.
I did not. I talked about nurture.
I thought that's what the shirt was about.
No.
Tell us about the shirts.
Okay, so
and hold on.
Nurture
I got one. I'm gonna do one even better for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna take us out on that. You already told us what nurture is.
Okay.
So we're gonna get ready to get out of here.
Okay.
But as we get ready to get out of here, I just want you to tell the people one more time who you are, where they can find you, and this dope merch that you bought in here as we get ready to go out as well. Talk about your shirts and also tell the people where they can find them
in
at.
your book.
Oh my God, I didn't talk about my book. Okay, so you can find me on Strive's website, www.strivebhm.com. Also Nurture's website, www.nurturebham.com. We are having a mental health awareness campaign. If you visit our website, as I mentioned, www.nurturebham.com, you can purchase one of these shirts. Real friends check in. We got to check in on our strong friends.
Yes.
We also have Mind Your Mental Health, which is important. And also, we have this flyer, Talk to Me, I'll Listen. 100% of the profits goes to the nonprofit. So the t-shirts are $25. So please visit our website and purchase your favorite tee. There's a limited supply available. Also, I am an author of the 21-Day Journey to Strive for a Healthier You, which is a mental health book that guides you in addressing mental health issues that you are unlikely to talk about. The topics ranges from grief, self-care, emotional regulation, healthy relationships, boundary settings, and more. So you can purchase that on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and website, or visit my website and you can purchase your book today. So let's strive together to be a healthier you.
Love it.
I'm going to do some voiceovers on this podcast. I'm going to run it back and just show y'all the screen. Y'all going to see my facial reaction to her talking, and I'm just going to put some words up on the screen. It ain't going to really be what's to be said unless you go listen to this or you heard it here. That's how you're going to figure it out. But in the meantime, between time, man, thank y'all for listening, man. I hope that you got something from this podcast, man. This was actually a really good one. And to be honest, for all our listeners out there, the crazy thing is, I can't believe I'm going to say this on air, but if you go look at the statistics, you'll see for yourself. Some of our biggest shows that y'all go and listen to and pay attention to have been when we brought people in and we talked about mental health in our communities. So this is maybe another banger for you, for that person that you don't pay no attention to nothing else, but this is what you really need. And if that's what you want to tap into and listen to, I want you to know that I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for supporting. Definitely send me some messages, some DMs, and be like, yeah, we know you like to have fun, but yeah, bring on some more people that can talk about things in the community that we're dealing with on a daily basis, man, and they can just drop a nugget here or there because you never know who you're helping, you know what I'm saying? So in the meantime, between time, I'm your boy, LaChester, man. I am the host of What You Mean podcast, and you know I was sitting with who today?
Monique, a.k.a. Mo, a.k.a. the co-host for today. It's been good.
And y'all know how we do when we get up out of here, man. Thanks, y'all. Peace.